You are born in the spring, the year you turn nothing on a mud-streaked farm on Staten Island, close enough to see Manhattan across the harbor, far enough to know it isn't yours. Your family is Dutch, and they are poor, not romantically poor, actually poor. Your father ferries vegetables and oysters across the bay in a flat-bottomed boat, and the sea pays him in coins, not fortunes. There is no marble here. There is no gold. There is the smell of horse dung baking in summer heat, the reek of an open harbor that runs thick with sewage and rotting fish, and the gray bread that goes stale before the week is out. This is the world you are dropped into. A world where the average man dies at 40, where the water in the public fountains of Manhattan is poisoned by tanneries and dead bodies, so people drink weak beer and cider instead, because clean water is a luxury you cannot afford. Where typhus and yellow fever and cholera sweep through neighborhoods and erase them in a single summer. Where the streets are cleaned by pigs let loose to eat the garbage. You carry no centuries of expectation on your back. No dynasty waits for you to honor it. That is the cruelty and the gift of your birth. Nobody is watching because nobody expects you to become anything at all. And so you learn your first lesson about power early, and you learn it in the dirt. You are 11, 12, 13, and you are already on the water before dawn, hauling rope until your hands split. You hate the farm. You hate the bowing. You watch the men who own boats, and you watch the men who row them, and you understand before you can read properly, before you will ever learn to write a sentence without errors, that there are only two kinds of people in this harbor, the ones who give the orders and the ones who break their backs obeying them.
You decide, somewhere in that cold, salt wind, which one you are going to be. So at 16, you do the boldest thing a poor boy can do. You go to your mother. Her name is Phoebe, and she is the only soul on earth you will ever truly respect. You ask her for $100, a sum that, to a family like yours, is closer to 10,000 of today's dollars than one. She does not simply hand it over. She makes you earn it first. Clear and plow a brutal, stony field, 8 acres in 16 days. You do it. You drag every rock from that soil with your own gigantic hands. She gives you the money. You buy a periauger, a crude 2-masted ferry, and you begin carrying passengers and cargo between Staten Island and Manhattan. No empire, no army, no name. Just a boy, a boat, and a hunger that will not be filled for 66 more years. The harbor does not know it yet, but the most ruthless fortune in American history has just pushed off from shore.
You are in your 20s now, and you have made a discovery that will define the rest of the century. The world is about to stop moving by wind and muscle and start moving by fire. Steam, the hiss of boiling water turned into a force that drags a vessel against the current with no sail, no oar, no mercy. The men who control steam will control everything that travels, every barrel of flour, every immigrant, every bag of mail, every soldier. You see it before almost anyone of your class sees it, and you decide it is going to belong to you. There is only one problem. It already belongs to someone else. The waters of New York are owned legally by decree of the state by a monopoly. The names behind it are Robert Fulton and Robert Livingston, men with capital, lawyers, and the protection of the government itself. No steamboat may cross those waters without their license. A man named Aaron Ogden holds that license like a crown. This is your first front. Not a brother, not a scheming vizier, but a wall of law and money built specifically to keep men like you out. So you do what the powerless do when they cannot go over a wall. you go under it. A planter named Thomas Gibbons hires you as captain to run his steamboat in open defiance of the monopoly. You take the job, and you take it gleefully. When the monopoly's agents come to arrest you, you outrun them. When they post officers at the docks, you hide passengers, you slip out at strange hours, you carry secret compartments. For 60 days you are a fugitive on your own river, daring the most powerful men in the state to catch you. They never do. And when the case finally climbs all the way to the Supreme Court, the monopoly shatters, the waters are thrown open, the wall comes down. You learned something there that you will never forget. The law is not a cage. The law is a tool, and it belongs to whoever's willing to fight longest. Now the river is open to everyone, which means it is open to you. And this is where the world meets the real Cornelius Vanderbilt. You build your own line, and when rivals appear, and they always appear, you do not compete with them, you destroy them. The steamboat fare from New York up to Albany is $3. $3 is a full week's wage for a working man. You cut your price to $1. Your rivals, stunned, drop to 50 cents, and then you deliver the killing blow that no sane businessman of your age would dare. Your fare is now $0, nothing. You carry thousands of people up the Hudson for free every single day, bleeding money on purpose, smiling while you do it. Your competitors panic. They cannot survive free. They hemorrhage cash and collapse within months. And what the passengers riding for nothing never understood was this: you made every penny back and more by charging 5 times the going rate for the food, the beer, and the berth on board. You invented the budget airline business model 150 years before the airplane existed. You turned generosity into a weapon and used it to slit your enemies' throats.
Stop. Look at what that number means. A working man earns $3 a week. You give away a $3 voyage for free 10,000 times over just to watch another rich man drown. You are not spending money. You are spending men's lives as ammunition. This is the reputation you build, and it earns you a name. They call you Commodore, half in mockery, this rough, cursing, tobacco-spitting boatman who never learned to spell, swaggering like an admiral. The elite of New York, the brownstone families on Fifth Avenue eating green turtle soup and oysters by the dozen, they sneer at you behind their kid gloves. You are not one of them. You will never be one of them. And here is the truth that drives them mad. You are richer than all of them, and you don't care what they think. You take the insult and you carve it onto your own ships in gold letters. Commodore. You make their mockery your throne. Then comes the betrayal that defines you forever. You are in your late 50s, sailing Europe in a steam yacht so vast it dwarfs the warships of small nations. While you are gone, 2 men you trusted, your own partners, Charles Morgan and Cornelius Garrison, seize control of your transit company behind your back. They rob you in your absence. They think distance and law will protect them. You come home. You do not call your lawyers. You sit down and you write 3 lines that will outlive you by centuries. Gentlemen, you have undertaken to cheat me. I will not sue you, for the law is too slow. I will ruin you. That is the decision. That is the man you choose to be. Not a man who seeks justice, a man who delivers annihilation. You open a rival route so cheap it strangles their stock to dust, and inside 2 years, both men are insolvent. You kept the promise. You always keep the promise. You are 60 years old now. Every threat is neutralized. Every rival is buried. Every wall is rubble. You have proven beyond any doubt that you deserve the empire you built with your own hands. Now you are going to put your name
on the world. You are 70 years old. Understand what that means in your century. 70 is not old. 70 is dead. The average man in your America does not see 40. Your own contemporaries are in their graves, and the few who breathe sit by the fire waiting for the end. And here is what you do at 70, the age when other men are eulogized. You sell everything. Every steamship, every ferry, the entire empire of water you spent 50 years carving out of the sea. You liquidate the kingdom that made you, and you bet the whole fortune, every last dollar, on a strip of iron laid across the dirt, the railroad. The men on Fifth Avenue think you have finally gone senile, an old man gambling a life's fortune on trains. They are wrong the way they have always been wrong. You buy the New York Central, you buy the Hudson River Line, you buy the Harlem, and then you do the thing no one had ever done. You weld them together into a single organism, one unbroken spine of steel running from the harbor of New York deep into the body of the continent. When you are finished, you control more than 16,000 kilometers of track. Lay that rail in a single line, and it would cross the entire United States, coast to coast, and then turn around and cross it again, and again, and again, 4 times. You own a population on your payroll of more than 50,000 workers, more souls than live in many a state capital, every one of them eating because you say they may. You do not own a company. You own the circulatory system of a nation. Nothing of value moves in America without paying a toll to an old man with a brass spittoon. And then you decide to build the monument, the one you can touch, the one that says Vanderbilt to every human being who walks into the greatest city on earth. You build the Grand Central Depot.
You raise it in the heart of Manhattan, and it is, in the year you complete it, the largest interior space on the North American continent, an iron and glass train shed so vast that the whole of a city block disappears inside it. It costs you $6,400,000. Translate that into the money of today, and you are spending more than $1.5 billion of civil engineering, and you pay for it out of your own pocket. One man, no government, no investors begging your pardon. Hundreds of laborers swarm the site for years. They haul iron forged in furnaces upstate, glass by the acre, brick by the mountain. When the great arched roof finally closes overhead, it is the cathedral of a new religion, and the God it is built for is you. Now walk inside it with me and use your senses, because this is what your money built. You see it first, a roof of glass and wrought iron arching 100 feet over your head, sunlight pouring down through it onto a sea of moving people, the largest crowd of strangers ever gathered indoors in the New World. You hear it, the scream of steam whistles, the hiss of release valves, the iron thunder of locomotives that move at 60 kilometers an hour, a speed so violent that the doctors of your age swear it will collapse a human lung or shake a man into instant madness. You smell it, coal smoke, hot grease, the metal and ozone tang of the telegraph wires that run beside every track you own, carrying Samuel Morse's messages at the speed of lightning alongside your trains. You taste the soot on your teeth, and you feel it under your boots, the platform trembling as another of your engines arrives, because the ground itself now moves to your schedule. This is the signature. This is the word you carved into the world. And what is luxury to a man who owns the movement of a continent? Here is the strange and brutal truth of you. You could eat anything on earth, You wake at 5 in the morning and you eat a bowl of oatmeal porridge and 3 fried eggs, the breakfast of the poor farm boy you never stopped being. You could dress in anything. You wear plain dark wool and chew rope tobacco, spitting brown streams into a brass cuspidor beside a desk of plain oak while you close deals worth more than the treasuries of nations. The brownstone aristocracy drapes itself in beaver felt and imported lace, and you don't bother because you have learned the deepest luxury of all, not to be looked at, to be obeyed.
But do not mistake restraint for poverty of appetite. Your indulgences are simply the size of an empire. You are addicted to speed, and so in your old age you spend a fortune on steam yachts larger than the warships of small countries. One of them so monstrous it could have outgunned half the navies of Europe, built for no purpose but to carry one rough old man across the ocean in triumph. Your other pleasure is blood and dust. You race 2-horse carriages down the dirt roads of Harlem yourself, white hair flying, and when a rival pulls alongside, you do not slow down. You drive him off the road into the mud and laugh while you do it. The richest man in America, in his 70s, running other men into ditches for sport. Let me put your fortune in the only terms that matter. When the dust settles, you are worth $105 million, and that is 1 out of every $87 in the entire economy of the United States. Every $87 that exists anywhere, in any pocket or bank or strongbox in the country, one of them is yours. Bezos does not own that share of America today. Musk does not own that share. In raw dominion over the wealth of a nation, you are richer than any man alive in the modern world. Corrected into today's money, your reach is somewhere between $230 and $400 billion. And you got there charging your enemies tribute to do nothing. When rivals tried to challenge you on the gold rush route through Nicaragua, you did not even fight them, you sent a bill. $56,000 a month, more than $2 million of today's dollars, every month, paid to you simply to keep your ships in port. They paid a fortune for your idleness. You earned millions standing perfectly still. This is the peak. This is the summit of the mountain you climbed from a Staten Island mudflat with 100 borrowed dollars. You stand at 70-something years old as the single most powerful private citizen the Republic has ever produced, the man who owns the iron, the engines, the very motion of America. But a monument is also a tombstone, and the higher you build the throne, the more it begins to resemble a cage. You own the movement of a continent. You cannot own a single hour of peace. Begin with the bed. Every night in the plain brick house on Washington Place, you perform a ritual that no one watching would believe of the richest man in America. Before you lie down, you place 4 shallow dishes of salt on the floor, one beneath each leg of the bed frame, so the salt can draw the bad energies, the bad luck, the unseen sickness up and out of you while you sleep. You who broke the Supreme Court monopoly and strangled a city into surrender, lie awake guarded by table salt, terrified of a darkness you cannot buy your way out of. You will not see a real doctor. You have a visceral, bottomless dread of physicians and their chemical poisons. So instead, you fill your house with mediums, young women who lay magnetic hands on your aching body, who clap in the dark and summon the dead. You will not make a major financial decision without first consulting 2 sisters, Tennessee and Victoria Claflin, who claim to channel the ghost of a long-dead market prophet, even the spirit of George Washington himself, to tell you which stocks to buy.
the most rational predator in American capitalism, the man who calculated his rivals into the grave, hands his fortune to ghosts. This is the flatterer's blindness in its purest form. When no living man dares tell you no, you go looking for the dead, because at least the dead will agree with you. And the family. God, the family. You married your first cousin, Sophia, and you gave her 13 children, and you despised nearly all of them. When Sophia refused to leave her Staten Island farm to a Manhattan mansion, you did not argue. You had her committed to an asylum for the insane for 3 months, and you left her there until she changed her mind. That is what your love is worth when it collides with your will. Your oldest son, Cornelius Jeremiah, suffers from epilepsy. You call it weakness of the mind. You watch him gamble your sacred name into mountains of debt, and you give him a beggar's allowance and your contempt. And at one point, you have him locked away too, because a son who is not strong is to you not a son. He is a stain. Right now, while you build cathedrals of iron, your own blood is borrowing against your name in card rooms across the city, and the thought of it makes you grind your teeth.
You are surrounded by 13 children and dozens of grandchildren, and you are, in every way that matters, completely alone. They do not love you. They are waiting for you. Every embrace at your table is a hand checking the weight of your coat for the key to the vault. You built a dynasty of your own flesh, and not one of them prays for your recovery. They pray for the reading of the will. Here is the truth at the center of you, the paradox you can never solve. You spent your whole life making sure you would never again be the powerless boy begging his mother for $100. And in making certain of it, you made certain that no one on earth would ever come to your bedside for any reason but money. You climbed out of poverty so completely that you forgot how to be loved. You taught the entire world that you keep every promise, that you ruin every enemy, that you bend every law. And so the entire world, including your wife and your sons, learned the only safe thing to do with you was to wait. At 73, after Sophia dies, you marry again, a distant cousin named Frank Armstrong Crawford, a woman of 30, 4 decades and more your junior. The city is scandalized. You don't care. You stopped caring what the city thought 60 years ago. But even she, young and bright in your darkening house, is one more person who will outlive you and inherit you. There is no one left who simply knows you. There is only the empire, the ghosts, the salt, and the pain. Because the pain has been coming for 50 years, and it is almost here.
January. You are 82. The empire is intact. Every kilometer of track, every dollar, every threat long buried. You have lost nothing. That is the cruelty of your ending. You die at the absolute summit, undefeated, the richest man the Republic has ever made. And it is agony. The syphilis you caught as a young man on the docks reached your nerves and your gut. For months you lie on that narrow bed while leeches drain your gray skin and the mediums clap in the dark, shouting stock tips from the beyond. The pain is so total that you bite down on the sheets to keep from screaming into the Manhattan night. Outside the door, your children are already at war. And on the 4th day of the year, the man who owned the motion of a continent goes finally, completely still. Now, watch what 80 years of conquest become in the hands of those who did not earn it. You leave $105 million. You give 95 of them, nearly all of it, to a single son, William Henry, because you trust no one else to keep the empire whole. Your 8 daughters receive scraps, a $250,000 here, a $500,000 there, an insult dressed as a gift. So they sue. Cornelius Jeremiah, the gambling son you despised, drags your name and your secrets, the seances, the salt, the madness, through open court in the largest inheritance battle America had ever seen. The fortune's first act, freshly cooled in the grave, is your own blood tearing at each other over your bones. And then the iron law of easy money does its work.
William Henry doubles the fortune and dies in 8 years. After him comes the 3rd generation, and they did not build, they spent. They raised marble palaces along Fifth Avenue, the very avenue whose aristocrats once sneered at the tobacco-spitting boatmen. They built the most colossal private houses this country has ever seen, threw balls that cost millions, and competed to burn the fortune faster than the next cousin. Within 50 years of your last breath, not one of those Fifth Avenue palaces was still standing as a home. They were torn down, every one, to build something taller. When 100-some of your descendants gathered for a family reunion 2 generations on, the story goes that not a single millionaire sat among them. The greatest fortune in American history, a fortune worth perhaps $250 billion in today's money, was gone. Not stolen, not lost in a crash, simply spent by people who had only ever known how to spend it. The gold scattered like ash, but the name did not. Grand Central still stands in the heart of New York, rebuilt grander, but yours in bone. Vanderbilt University carries the word. The name survives as a sound the world still associates with wealth, even as the wealth itself evaporated into thin air. You wanted to never be powerless again. You succeeded so completely that you outlived your own dynasty's ability to hold what you gave them. So here is the question, and it is for you watching this. If you could build the greatest fortune in the history of a nation, but you knew your children would burn it to the ground and forget your face, would you still climb? Or is the only thing that truly outlasts a man the name and never the gold?